Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Fields. What up, Steeler Nation? You are checking out the new standard, the Steelers versus Colts breakdown. The title of this program is Strawberry Fields Forever. Yes, it is Strawberry Fields forever. Justin Fields has the Pittsburgh Steelers rolling. The Pittsburgh Steelers have started out the season 3-0. As always, if you want to participate in the show, please hit us with a like and subscribe, and please give us a comment in the chat. I promise I will get to your comments if you do give me a comment in the chat. We also put the show up in terms of the podcast. We'll put the podcast up as we finish recording. Also, you can hit us with a super chat. It's a way to financially contribute to the show. Yes, I am asking for a financial contribution if you see so fit. So let me take you down to Strawberry Fields, baby, where nothing is real. And I'm not sure many of you thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be 3-0 at this particular point in the season. And in fact, the butt of the joke on this particular show is if Lance picks the Steelers to lose, the Steelers will win. And that I should never pick the Steelers to win, because if I pick the Steelers to win, I will be jinxing them. I don't have that much power in terms of the wins and losses, but what I do have is an opinion on the games, and I value bringing my opinion to you and participating in talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers every week and breaking down every game. So, as you know, if you've been listening to the show, we got a couple of segments that we do on the Wednesday show. We take a look back at the last one. We also jump into Tomlin talk. We break down some of the big talking points and the topics and discussion that Mike Tomlin jumped into in his press conference. We also take a look at some of the matchups from the big game coming up this week from the Colts and the Steelers, and what matchups are critical for the success of the Steelers. And we will give you our prediction on the game. Let's take a look back at the last one, and I want to jump into a couple of numbers as we look back at the Steelers' victory against the San Diego Chargers. And one of the numbers that stands out is the number 32. And the number 32 signifies the number of pass attempts that Justin Fields had in the game against the Chargers. And I think some people would be surprised at the fact that the Steelers threw the ball that much. And in fact, if I bring up the game book, I think the snap count was probably, I think the Steelers ran close to 60 plays in the game. But I think the predominance of the calls in terms of the play style and play calls was on the passing game. And I think when you allow Justin Fields, Strawberry, to throw the ball 32 times in the game, regardless of where the throws are, that's trust. I feel like when I watch the Steelers offense and when I watch Justin Fields, although we're not seeing it manifest itself necessarily in points, although there was an opportunity for the Steelers to score 27 points in this game, I thought Najee Harris did something very unselfish in the game by not scoring that touchdown, showing situational awareness and stopping at the goal line or close to the goal line so you could kneel on the ball so you could conclude the game. I thought that was a critical play in the game and indicative of how they're being coached and how well they're being coached. But 32 pass attempts, to me, that says trust. It means that he's growing, they're growing, the offense is growing, and they are trusting to put the offense in his hands as long as he does not turn the ball over. And they had 65 plays on the game. So, and he got sacked twice. So half of those, are pass plays. It's a nice balance. It's a nice mix. And throwing the ball 32 times, regardless of where, and they did sprinkle more throws into the middle of the field, shows that he's growing, the offense is growing, and their trust in Justin Fields is growing. And it's exciting to see Justin Fields as a player grow and get better week to week. Another number I want to jump into in terms of looking back at the last one, the number 173 and the number -5. The Steelers defense gave up 173 first half yards. In the second half, they gave up a net of -5 yards. The San Diego Chargers ran 45 plays in the game, and they only got 168 yards. 45 plays, 168 yards. That is under 4 yards a play in the game. That is fantastic. Steeler defense is playing outstanding. The other thing that jumped out at me when I took a look at the last one, Steelers had 12 hits, 5 sacks, 12 total hits on San Diego Charger quarterbacks in 25 pass plays. That is absolutely ridiculous. That's almost getting a hit or a sack on the quarterback in every 4 pass attempts. That is absolutely unreal. Defense is playing at a ridiculously high level. Justin Fields is growing. And so Mr. Tubby, I don't know, you heard the top of the program, but the joke of the program is, please tell me I'm not going to win the lottery this weekend. So Mr. Tummy, you're not going to win the lottery. And when you don't win the lottery, can you share some of those proceeds with me? The Steelers right now look like they have a formula to win. Solid defense. Run the football well. We'll talk about the running game. In terms of my big thoughts, don't turn the ball over. Now, I think for this formula to be sustainable, they have to score some more points. So right now they're giving up about 8.7 a game, and they're scoring 17 a game. We've talked about it a ton of times on this show. Point differential, elite teams, it's around a touchdown. It's from about, it starts at about 6 to 6.5. If you're above 6.5, if you're in the 7 to 8 to 9 range, you're an elite team. However, with the Steelers mix, it's odd because when you only score 17 points a game, you're probably going to be in some close games because it only takes a play or two to get the differential between 17 and 8 or 9 points per game. So, hopefully, we see some more offensive production and offensive output. In terms of my big thoughts, my bigger holistic thoughts, the AFC North is bad right now. The Cincinnati Bengals are terrible. I think the Ravens are solid. When you look at the Browns, they got a bad quarterback. Deshaun Watson is terrible, and he's in the press talking about, I'm not getting paid to run the ball. They brought me in here to be a quarterback. I'm not interested in running. He should be interested in doing anything to get that offense to be more productive. He stinks. That offense is inconsistent. Steelers defense is better than the Browns. The Bengals are playing, or Bungles, excuse me. And again, you're checking out the new standard. Strawberry Fields Forever are playing themselves out of a playoff appearance. So I think the Steelers, if they continue to roll, have a hell of an opportunity to set the table. Because when you look at the schedule, they got the Colts. Colts have an inexperienced quarterback in Anthony Richardson. You look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys can't stop the run. They're not playing solid football. The Raiders are the Raiders. They're up and down. They beat Baltimore, but get waxed by Carolina. They're not a consistent football team. You have uh, Devontae Adams seems like he doesn't want to be there. It's all topsy-turvy in Vegas. So I think all those games are winnable. I wouldn't even be surprised if you see the Steelers go into that Jets game 6-0. So it's sitting there. And the Steelers right now have to take advantage of this part of their schedule because the back half is hellacious, absolutely hellacious. So they got to make sure they take care of their business right here and right now. And the way they're playing, I think they can. Let me break one number down and a couple of numbers down to me, to you guys, that I think are concerning. The running game, and that you could say that it's because of the kind of flux of the offensive line, that the running game is sputtering, in my opinion. Because if you look at that game, I think they had maybe 10 yards, 5 yards. They had a really small amount of rushing yards in the first half against the Chargers. And I know the Chargers are a very good defense as well as the Steelers, but man, you can't go into the half. And let me pull up the score. And let me pull up the rushing stats for the Steelers at half. The Steelers had 14 net rushing yards at half. Now, they finished very well in the run game, but the run game is sputtering. When you look at rush success rate, the Steelers are dead last in the National Football League at 32.7. And in terms of their pro football focus grade, their rush grade is 58.9, which is 31st. And the reason I gave you two stats is because I know a bunch of you don't give a rat's ass about pro football focus. But I think in giving you some stats from multiple places, it illustrates the first down run game, and the run game in particular is taking its time to churn. What's up, Big Kevin? What's up to my guy, Stillmatic Network with G Honda? Make sure you guys check him out. Give him a like and subscribe. Big up to my guy, Ollie Howard Species. They've got to get the running game cranking and ready to go off the bus. It's got to be ready to go because right now Justin Fields is playing solid football, but I don't think you want to put him in disadvantageous down and distance situations where he has to make big plays with his arm to convert third downs and keep the Steeler offense on schedule. Run the ball well on early downs, dictate two defenses with the physical running game, and put Justin Fields in some situations where he can be more successful. But they got to be better than a 32.7 ranked 32 in success rate in the running game, 58.9 rush grade via PFF. They've got to be better than this. In terms of the quarterback position and the title of the program, Strawberry Fields Forever, it's a long season. What I will say is this: he will not lose the job if he plays clean football. If he plays clean football and does not turn the rock over, he will remain the starter. Because the way the Steelers play, they cannot have a quarterback that turns the rock over. If he protects the football, he will remain the starter if he does not get injured. It's a long season. And part of his game is the QB run game. And I hope they expand the QB run game. It's a physical game. The Steelers, at some point in time in the season, they're going to need Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is going to be needed. He's going to have to play. And I think they're doing a great job. Go with the hot hand, stick with him while you're getting Russ back. Because we've seen it in the past in different sports and in football where calf injuries can develop into Achilles injuries. And, it's going to be, so what if it takes a while for Russ to get on the field if the Steelers are 6-1, 6-2 by the time that Russ gets on the field? He's a vet, and Russ can bring some elements to this offense, probably that Justin can't on a play-to-play consistency basis. So again, they're going to need both of those guys. But right now, let me take you there, 'cause I'm going to Justin Fields. Yes, Justin Fields. Yes, it is his time right now. And if the young man takes care of the rock, it'll stay his time. Let me shift reels and jump into some of the big points from Tomlin's press conference. One thing he illustrated was Steelers offense got to start faster. I agree. Steelers offense absolutely has to start faster. I mean, what you saw in the game against San Diego, and that's granted, San Diego's a very good defense, but them starting slow, not converting third downs, I think all that's associated with them not being able to run the ball really well in early in games. They have to get off the bus with the running game cranking. Like it can't be that slow to start, because one thing we have not seen yet is Justin Fields a player capable of bringing the Steelers back if they get down, say 14-3. We've got to see that part of it. Will they open up the offense and let him throw them back into a game? So until that comes, hey man, running game got to get cranking. And he illustrated that. In terms of injuries, Trice is out IR. Highsmith is out with a hammy. Some of the participation guys are Warren and Siamalu. I saw some video clips of Siamalu. He looked healthy. And it'll be interesting. If they can inject Siamalu back into his starting slot as the left guard, the combination, I think, of Siamalu, Frazier, my guy, and true or false, let me pitch this out there to you. If you're listening to the show, if you're a hip-hop fan, you will get the reference immediately. True or false, Frazier and McCormick will be the hip-hop or football's equivalent of Wu-Tang's Ray and Ghost. Ray and Ghost. Will Frazier and McCormick be hip-hop's version of Ray and Ghost of the Wu-Tang Clan? The Purple Tape, baby. And if you've never heard the Purple Tape, go to Apple Music, download the Purple Tape, and see what's up. Let me jump into this comment from Kevin Motley before we get into another couple of points from Tomlin. He said the defense might not allow a 14-point lead the way they've been thugging on the field. Pull out the black Air Force Ones. Yes, sir, baby. Yes, they are wearing black Air Force Ones. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Kev knows was only built for Cuban links, baby. Only built for Cuban links. Could it be all so simple when the Steelers bust that? All I'm saying. Anyway, and Stillmatic Network with G Honda said Meth and Raekwon, but I get it. No, it's Ray and Ghost, baby, because you got to have that continuity, that synergy. Ray and Ghost, baby, go together like peanut butter and jelly. Hopefully the interior of this offensive line will gel like Ray and Ghost on a RZA track. But let's jump into some of the things that Coach Tomlin pointed out in discussing the Colts. Number one, stopping Jonathan Taylor. Emphasized that to a great degree. And I think that goes into some of the comments that he made about Bo Nix in a previous press conference about putting the quarterback on an island. Got to put Anthony Richardson on an island. He also talked a lot about the quarterback run game and RPOs and being disciplined and quarterback mobility. Talked about when you play the Colts, because of quarterback mobility, you can't stack the box. And because of that QB run game and the RPO stuff, you can't stop the box. So they're going to have to be able to stop the run in subs. The other thing he talked about was limiting Pierce in the passing game because Pierce has the most 40-yard plus catches in the National Football League. So those were some of the highlights that he jumped out and said about the game. Another thing he said as well, and looking at this game, he said, is that the Colts defense, what he saw on tape was that they were inconsistent in their run fits, meaning they weren't gap sound. They had no gap integrity, which means you could take advantage of it. One thing, though, I hope, and the other thing I forgot to say, he talked about the Anderson and the McCormick rotation at the guard position. I think when you watch that fourth quarter, hey man, McCormick is some seasoning, baby. He's some seasoning, baby. They were road grading people in that fourth quarter. They were it looked like slow churned vanilla ice cream. They were killing them. They were killing the Colts late in that game. That needs to be in the beginning. And Tomlin again talked about staying on schedule and starting fast. Some matchups when you look at this game that you want, I think that are big matchups. I want to see Grover Stewart versus Zach Frazier. Zach Frazier has played outstanding football in the first 3 games. Grover Stewart will be his biggest test. If he passes the Grover Stewart test, oh yes. Oh yes. And Kevin Motley, you know what it is, baby. McCormick season is a nickname, baby. Yes. The McCormick seasons, baby. But if Zach Frazier plays well against Grover Stewart, oh yes. Oh yes. We got one for the next 15 years. Even if he struggles a bit, I don't think it takes away from his outstanding play in the first beginning and the start of the season. I think they're very comfortable with him to I think he started very well. Another big matchup, and this is probably like the I should say what part 3, part whatever. This is always a 5-star matchup. Cam Hayward versus Quentin Nelson, always a 5-star matchup. When those two guys get together and they bump heads, hey man, it's epic. Make sure you watch that matchup. Porter Jr. versus Alex Pierce. That's going to be a fantastic matchup as well. But this game to me looks like a battle of the running games and who's going to make the most mistakes. I think whatever team runs the ball better is the team that will win the game. And I don't want to make it sound like this, but yes, Mr. Tummy, yes, the Colts got to protect their neck, baby, because I think the Steelers are coming for it. But I just want to say this. Anthony Richardson, and this is going to sound funny. And thank you, Joey Greed. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the compliments. Best Steelers pod 4 years running. Thank you, sir. When Anthony Richardson throws it to the Steelers, they're going to have to catch it. One of my true and falses for this particular show is true or false. Anthony Richardson will turn the ball over at least 2 times. They got to put Anthony Richardson on an island. They've got to make him operate consistently from the pocket, be disciplined in the RPO game and the quarterback run game, and put hits on the kid. They've got to make him read it out and make throws. And, they got to eat up front in terms of pressure and pressure him disciplined because the running part of it is an issue. But he is scattershot. Anthony Richardson is not an accurate player, does not process fast, does not see the field clearly. They have to turn him over. And I think that they will turn him over. You look at Indy's defense, ranked 18th in terms of DVOA in the rush. I think this is a get healthy game for the Steelers running game. It won't look, because the Chargers are very good on defense. I think the Steelers get the running game going a little bit more, especially if McCormick gets a lot of the early reps in snaps. Especially if he gets a lot of the early reps and snaps. And if Siamalu comes back, they definitely will run it better. It's pretty early in the week still. We'll hear more about the injury updates, but I'm sorry, Mr. Tummy. I'm sorry. I gotta apologize to you. I'm picking the Steelers in this game. I'm actually picking the Steelers in this game. I am sorry. And to G Honda's point, which are solid ones, no way Richardson runs against Watt, Herbig, Wilson, and Queen. He will indeed get hurt. Kevin Motley chimed in. Elliott or Jackson gets one in this game, or Fitz might get his first. Uh, Mr. Tummy, they gonna smack Indy. They gonna smack Indy. Anthony Richardson is not there right now. Let me jump into, and let me give you, before I give you mine, let me give you Neil's prediction. Neil predicted the Steelers to win the game 23-10. 23 Steelers, Colts 10. I'm picking the Steelers to beat the Colts 20-9. I think the Colts will move the ball at times. I think they will sputter in the red zone. This is a game where I see the Steelers getting out of here with multiple sacks. If you make them read it out, he'll hold the ball. They'll get sacks. I could see a TJ Watt strip sack. I could see a Minka pick. I feel like the Colts will turn it over multiple times. And I think the Steelers, the game will be kind of Steeler-esque, where it'll be kind of close. The offense will kind of start fast. Not really, sort of, kind of. But if they take care of the ball and play clean, this is a very winnable game for the Steelers. I like the Steelers to go in there and win again, 20-9. Neil got them at 23-10. I think the Steelers get to 4-0, and the train keeps rolling because it's Strawberry Fields, Justin Fields forever. Let the good times roll, baby, as the Steelers, I think, this time next week will be 4-0, and the train will keep rolling. But with that, we're going to conclude the show. Big up to my guy, Mel. What's up? Yeah, Mel, I'm picking the Steelers. Every once in a while, I pick the Steelers. Jonathan Taylor will get some yardage. Yes, very good back. But I think they got that handled. I think that will be okay. If he pops one, maybe that's how they get one of their field goals. He pops one, they get in the red zone, they shut him down in the red zone, they got to settle for a field goal. Then they do a good job in terms of shutting him down for the rest of the game. And it looks like he had a much better game because he popped a 35-yarder or a 45-yarder. But I think they'll put some cold water on that fire and really handle the running game and really put it on the Colts and really put that kid in the mix and really get after Richardson in that offense that is growing. But I think this is an elite defensive unit. And this is, if you're going up against a rookie quarterback like this and you're elite and you think you're elite and you are going to play to that 8.7, you put Anthony Richardson in that offense in a blender. You put that game on his back and say, carry it, young man. And I just don't think he can do that right now. Steelers are playing fantastic defensive football, and everything is moving forward in the flow. Look for the Steelers to go to 4-0 and get this dub. With that, we're going to get out of here. And as always, tune in, tell a friend, and let me take you there, because I'm going. Yes, sir, baby. Justin Fields. Let's go, Steelers. 4-0, baby. Holla at your boy.